Chadwick Boseman was only 43 when he died in 2020. He was best known for Black Panther, but Boseman also gained accolades for his work in biopics, playing James Brown in Get On Up and baseball pioneer Jackie Robinson in 42. When Boseman was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2016, he chose to keep his condition secret, even after it progressed to stage 4. The actor began to show signs of illness later in his life, but that didn't stop him from turning in a great performance before he died. Boseman plays Levy Green in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, showcasing every bit of his immense talent as a trumpet player intent on recording his own songs.
I ain't like you, color. I got talent. Me and this horn, we's tight.
It's a beautiful, Academy Award-nominated final performance by a very gifted actor. And it's also hard to watch, now knowing what Boseman was going through at the time the film was made. Tony Todd was nothing short of a horror icon. He played the title character in the Candyman films in the 90s and appeared in dozens of other horror movies right up to his death at the age of 69. That said, there's one swan song role of Todd's we'll all remember. Todd played the only regular character in the Final Destination horror franchise, medical examiner William Bloodworth. When Todd came back for Final Destination Bloodlines, the actor told the filmmakers that he had terminal stomach cancer. Producer Craig Perry told Deadline that they allowed Todd to simply improvise his final lines, and what he said was incredibly poignant.
Life is precious. Enjoy every single second. You never know when.
Much of Raul Julia's early career was in the theater, and he brought the intensity and magnetism he had on stage to the screen. Julia was never nominated for Academy Award because much of his film work was in genre material like the Addams Family movies, but Julia never brought anything but his A-game. Julia's health declined after a 1991 stomach cancer diagnosis, though he hid it from the public. By 1994, while he was filming that year's video game adaptation Street Fighter, his condition had significantly worsened. The movie, you may know, was a huge flop. Critics and fans both hated it, but Julia brought his all to the role of the evil warmonger General M. Bison, easily creating the film's most memorable moments.
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life.
Julia had agreed to be in the film as a gift to his children. He wanted to leave them something they could enjoy after his death. He actually died before the film's release in December 1994. Julia had a stroke and fell into a coma on October 20th of that year. He died 4 days later at the age of 54. Despite that tragedy, the story of this performance has a happy ending. In the years since its initial flop, Street Fighter has become a genuinely beloved cult classic, largely due to the serious acting chops Julia brought to an otherwise ridiculous movie.
But for me, it was Tuesday.
Outside of the One Life to Live and Call of Duty fandoms, Kamar de los Reyes wasn't necessarily a familiar name. He worked often in soaps, voice roles, and TV guest spots, but the Puerto Rican actor star was really starting to rise when he tragically died from cancer at the age of just 56. De los Reyes landed a role as a Marvel superhero in the Disney Plus series Daredevil Born Again, playing Hector Ayala, aka White Tiger, in 2 episodes. Director Michael Cuesta explained on the Phase Hero podcast that he and others on set could tell that De los Reyes was working through pain.
I would check with him every half hour, and he's like, "I'm good, stop bothering me, Michael, I'm fine, I want to do it."
His Born Again episodes were finally released in March 2025, more than a year after De los Reyes' death. In the aftermath of his passing, the actor's performance is especially powerful.
It's a calling. I didn't choose it. It chose me.
Robin Williams was one of the most gifted comedic actors and stand-up comics of his generation. But as his career went on, he also showed off some considerable dramatic acting talent. He earned 4 Oscar nominations and 1 win for Best Supporting Actor in 1998's Good Will Hunting, Williams sadly took his own life in 2014 at the age of 63. According to the Lewy Body Dementia Association, over the previous year, people close to him had started noticing symptoms, including difficulty moving, paranoia, and confusion. Williams unfortunately never got an accurate diagnosis of his condition, a disease involving protein deposits in the brain, while he was alive. An initial diagnosis labeled it as Parkinson's. He and those around him knew something was very wrong, even without knowing exactly what was going on. Despite his symptoms, Williams kept working up to the end. His final live-action role came in 2014's Night at the Museum, Secret of the Tomb, the third film in the series, in which he reprised his role as Teddy Roosevelt. Though the film was a light-hearted comedy, Williams brought a tenderness to his role that spoke volumes when the film was released 4 months after his death.
Smile, my boy. It's sunrise.
John Cazale only appeared in 5 movies, but there's a good chance you've seen a few of them, because several are ranked among the best of all time. He played Fredo Corleone in the first 2 Godfather films, co-starred again with Al Pacino in Dog Day Afternoon, and worked with Francis Ford Coppola again in the underrated gem The Conversation. Cazale was a heavy smoker and got a terminal lung cancer diagnosis in May 1977. But he took on one last role, alongside his then fiancée Meryl Streep as Stan in The Deer Hunter. Cazale hid his condition from the public, but he couldn't keep it from the film's production company. They wanted to fire him over the increased insurance costs involved with having him on set, but the cast and director Michael Cimino fought to keep him. What resulted was one of Cazale's best performances. He adds an emotional depth to the already charged narrative, which deals with post-traumatic stress disorder.
What, you gonna shoot me? Huh? Here.
He shot his scenes while he had the strength to do so, but died from his illness on March 13, 1978, at the age of 42, before the film was released later that year. Vincent Price starred in over 100 films, many of which were in the horror genre. Sometimes he was a villain, and other times he was the protagonist. His leading roles included the Edgar Allan Poe adaptations The Fall of the House of Usher, The Mask of the Red Death, and The Pit and the Pendulum, as well as The Fly. As he got older, Price's health declined from emphysema, which came from a lifetime of smoking, and Parkinson's disease. They made it hard for him to work, but he took one more part before he died. Director Tim Burton idolized Price and asked him to play a small but pivotal role in his 1990 film Edward Scissorhands. Price's filming schedule and role had to be altered due to his health, but he still stepped up to portray the title character's creator. Price offered a sensitive portrayal of a lonely man far removed from the world.
Yes, boring. Let us switch to some poetry.
His performance instills in the audience a sense of longing shared by Edward, and it was a fitting final appearance for the Hollywood legend. Price died at 82 from lung cancer in October 1993. After making a career out of theater acting and the occasional British TV miniseries, Alan Rickman didn't start appearing in feature films until he was in his 40s, portraying the villain Hans Gruber in 1988's Die Hard. From there, Rickman had a widely varied career, but did play a lot of villains, including Severus Snape in all 8 Harry Potter films. Rickman was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2005. He almost left Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, but decided to continue what he started. The actor remained in relatively good health until he had a stroke in 2015, followed by a diagnosis of terminal pancreatic cancer. He only shared the news with those closest to him. Rickman's final movie performance was a voice role. He returned as the blue caterpillar turned butterfly, Absalom, in 2016's Alice Through the Looking Glass. He brought the same level of clarity to the character as he did in the first movie, and his languorous voice adds to Absalom's uniquely meta-characterization. Rickman passed away in January 2016 at the age of 69.
You've been gone too long, Alice. And he will be gone before long.
Director David Lynch had no reservations about confronting mortality in his work, and on multiple occasions he worked with actors who knew their deaths were coming soon. In 1999, Lynch made The Straight Story, a simple and moving retelling of a true story about a man riding his lawnmower to visit his critically ill brother. The film starred Richard Farnsworth, who earned an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor for his performance.
Did you ride that thing all the way out here to see me?
I did, Lyle.
Terminal cancer had left Farnsworth partially paralyzed, and he took his own life almost a year after the release of The Straight Story. He was 80. In 2017, Lynch brought back Twin Peaks for a sprawling 18-episode third season dubbed Twin Peaks: The Return. Much of the surviving original cast came back, including Catherine Coulson, who had a few final heartbreaking scenes as the show's iconic log lady. Coulson and Lynch had worked together behind the scenes since the start of his career, and though she was visibly dying of cancer in her last scenes, Lynch put her in front of the camera one final time. She filmed her scenes from her home in Oregon, while Lynch directed via Skype.
You know about death, that it's just a change, not an end.
Coulson died in September 2015 at the age of 71. Her Twin Peaks scenes aired around 20 months after her death. Miguel Ferrer also died before his scenes as FBI agent Albert Rosenfield on The Return aired. He passed away from throat cancer in January 2017 at the age of 61. His career included a role in RoboCop, as well as series regular status on the TV shows Crossing Jordan and NCIS Los Angeles. Known for his plain-spoken naturalism, Spencer Tracy nabbed 9 Oscar nominations over his career. He ended up winning 2 back-to-back awards for Captains Courageous and Boys Town in 1938 and 39. By the early 1960s, Tracy's alcoholism and cigarette smoking had started to catch up with him. He was laid low with fluid accumulation in his lungs in 1963. He bounced back only to fall ill again after prostate surgery 2 years later. Still, Tracy found the strength for one final Oscar-nominated role in 1967's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Tracy plays Matt Drayton, a father who's shocked to find his daughter dating a black man. Though he's apprehensive at first, Matt ends the film with a passionate show of support and a 7-minute monologue. Tracy beautifully delivers the speech as his real-life partner, Katharine Hepburn, watches with teary eyes.
And there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that your son feels for my daughter that I didn't feel for Christina.
Tracy died from a heart attack at the age of 67, shortly after filming wrapped. Humphrey Bogart was arguably the face of the golden age of Hollywood. While Casablanca remains his most enduring film, Bogart won his only Academy Award for Best Actor for 1951's The African Queen. He also starred in multiple noir classics, including The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep. Bogart's films are evidence enough that he was a heavy smoker. He had a persistent cough that only got worse as he got older. His wife, Lauren Bacall, noted, "Sometimes his throat burned when he drank orange juice." In 1956, Bogart was diagnosed with esophageal cancer. He had surgery to remove a tumor, and though his health was poor, he continued to act. Bogart's final role was as Eddie Willis in The Harder They Fall in 1956. Bogart is phenomenal as Willis. He doesn't throw punches or brandish a gun, but characteristically delivers his lines with gusto.
The hell with them! Think of yourself. Get your money and get out of this rotten business.
His final performance as a has-been sports writer who becomes a boxing publicist out of desperation is one of his best. Bogart died in his sleep in January 1957 at the age of 57.